These research reports are a way of understanding some of the products that are coming into the market and the advertising and marketing strategies that are being employed. And with that, it's also an insight into the attitudes and aspirations of many people in the 40s and 50s who had not had anything as children, had been poor, and suddenly find themselves in a situation of relative affluence. So it's a view, it offers insights into, of course, the changing marketplace, but I think more profoundly into the changing desires and horizons of consumption that become possible for Americans, after the end of World War II and with the beginning of the post-war prosperity. Well, the document I've brought here today is a study that's called Creative Memo on Lay's Products, and it was prepared by Ernest Dichter of the Institute for Motivational Research. Mr. Dichter, or Dr. Dichter, was the leading market research psychologist of the 1950s and the 1960s, and this research report is one of 2,000 that's in the collection of the Hagley Museum and Library. This report is a very important report. It recommends advertising policy to Lay's potato chips in the 1950s and recommends how they should expand their sales. And it reflects the wide range of materials that Mr. Dichter has in his collection about all the industries in the United States, from baked goods to cars to toys to all sorts of areas in which he uses market research to tell producers how to sell their goods to the public. And in this report, he uses in-depth research, interviews with consumers, observational techniques to figure out why Lay's can't sell more potato chips. And the problem he discovers is that people view potato chips as a snack food, as a food that's probably unhealthy, as a food which is a luxury. Therefore, it acts as a restraint on sales. And so he recommends a series of steps for the Lay's company to address this. The preeminent one is to portray potato chips as a real food by having it placed in settings such as school lunches and institutional cafeterias and restaurants as a side dish. And the idea behind that is that if you receive potato chips as part of a meal, you're not going to think about them as a snack. You're not going to think about them as unhealthy. You're going to think about them as food. And if you think about that as food, you're more likely to purchase them to have in the house on an ongoing basis. And of course, Lay's then takes this and does a wide range of marketing and approaching restaurants and other places to put potato chips in regular meals. And in so doing, transform the way consumers think about potato chips as a food item. It's a very significant report because it's obviously very successful in the kind of consumption that we have of potato chips. And I brought it here because it reflects the use of market research in the 1950s and the 1960s to expand consumption and to influence the attitudes of consumers.